Hey guys, welcome back to Cam in Focus. I just wanted to take this video and talk to you a little bit about Megalopolis. So I saw this movie the other day and I walked out of it not really knowing how I felt about it. Normally after the first viewing of a movie, I typically at the very least know whether or not I liked it, but with this movie I truly had no idea. I mean, this is definitely a very artsy kind of film. It's not going to be one that's easily digestible by most audiences, and this is Francis Ford Coppola's supposedly last movie. This movie cost $120 million to make, and it's supposedly self-funded, and it's probably not going to make back even a tenth of that, unfortunately, but, that's the way it goes. And if you don't know who Francis Ford Coppola is, he directed, movies that you might know like The Godfather, Apocalypse Now, movies like that. So here's the thing, I like artsy movies, but sometimes they tend to go a little bit overboard, and not that this movie really went overboard with it, but the problem was, someone put it into perspective for me. He actually kind of phrased it perfectly. He said that this movie is trying way too hard to be a masterpiece. And to be honest, I do kind of agree with that assessment. I mean, this movie does seem to take itself very seriously, while at the same time coming off almost satirical. This movie, as far as I can tell, this movie takes place in America if the Roman Empire had never fallen. So, the characters are in America, but they live in a city called New Rome. And there's a character played by Adam Driver who's kind of an eccentric architectural artist, I guess you would call him, and he wants to create a new city within the city, in some utopian type of perfect city, using this substance called megala. Now, I don't think it was ever confirmed in the movie whether it was something he discovered or something that he invented, but this is what he wants the new city to be made out of. And there's a lot of elements that are shown in this movie that end up not really affecting the movie at all. I'll kind of get into spoilers here. In the very first scene of the movie, there's an aspect of time manipulation that's introduced, and it's touched on a little bit throughout the movie, but it's not related to the story. At least I don't think it is, not as far as I can tell. They bring up this element of time manipulation to kind of give this movie a fantastical feel, but it's not important to the story, and it's not explained. You don't know why Adam Driver has this ability to stop time, and we don't know why the female lead of this movie can see him do it. There's so much that's not explained. And when I say that this movie seems very satirical, I mean like I said, this is a movie where the Roman Empire never fell, so you have people walking around in togas, all with, Roman-sounding names, and all the women are portrayed in a way that seems very stereotypical, If you think back to any Roman story or Roman film that you've seen, like Gladiator or Spartacus, where the women are, overly feminine to the point of being almost comical, that's what all the women are like in this movie, and I truly don't know how seriously Coppola wanted us to take this movie. I mean, as far as the direction, the performances are great. I love Adam Driver and pretty much everything he's in. The cinematography is pretty decent, but you can see that a lot of the special effects that they were using, I guess, really ate up the movie's budget, because some of these green screen effects, holy shit, they're bad. Really, really bad. There's a scene where Adam Driver is going up in an elevator to the top of a building, and behind him you see the city, and the green screen is just so obvious. The lighting doesn't even match at all. It's almost embarrassing, really. And the story takes itself so seriously, and the problem is the narrative feels very disjointed. I mean, the pacing is atrocious, first of all. You jump from scene to scene with no sense of a passage of time. You'll have one scene where something is happening, and in the next scene, it's months later, and it's oh, wait a minute, what the hell just happened? And there's so many plot elements that are brought into this story to try and give it some gravitas, like Adam Driver being falsely accused of killing his wife, But the thing is, that's not really important to the story. And then you have Giancarlo Esposito who comes in and says, hey, you know, if you stay away from my daughter, I'll give you my signed confession as to my involvement in the death of your wife. But after that scene, it's never brought up again. It's not important. It's weird to say, but this movie feels like there's too much in it, and it also feels like there was a lot that was edited out and put out on the cutting room floor, things that probably could have made this movie make a lot more sense. And making sense is something that this movie really struggles with, because 30 minutes into the movie, I still didn't really know what was going on. Now, as far as any positives that I have with this movie, like I said, I love Adam Driver's performance. I mean, the performances all around were pretty good. I mean, we have Shia LaBeouf in there who's really hamming it up, while at the same time kind of underacting. It's a kind of a strange phenomenon that this guy gave us. And like I said, the cinematography is great. I mean, there are a lot of shots in there that I think are just absolutely gorgeous. And like your typical Roman drama, you know, you have a lot of elements of psychological thriller, romance. I wouldn't necessarily say action, but there are kind of action-ish elements in there. And of course, it wouldn't be a Roman story without, you know, an element of incest, which is, you know, I guess that's kind of par for the course at this point. I mean, this movie had the makings of something really, really great, but I truly don't know what went wrong. I sat through it from beginning to end. This movie's just like 2 hours and 15 minutes long, and honestly, I felt every freaking second of that runtime. And even though I was on board and I was ready to see it through to the end, I really wasn't enjoying what I was seeing. I don't know if maybe I just didn't get it, or if this movie is artsier or whatever than I typically like. And don't get me wrong, I like artsy films. You know, I'm a big lover of A24. I love movies like The Green Knight, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Ex Machina, and then you have your other, you know, more art house kind of movies like Into the Void, and like all kinds of stuff. But this movie just completely went over my head. And then at the end of the movie, I'm gonna kind of spoil something here. I'm sorry, but I really don't expect anyone to see this movie at this point, because it's gonna flop at the box office, no doubt. At the very end of the movie, you know, Adam Driver and his girlfriend have a baby, and as they're celebrating the construction of this new city, I guess the baby can stop time now, and the movie ends literally on a freeze frame of stopped time. Again, I don't know where time stoppage factors into the story. It's there kind of just to be there. I really don't know. I really wish that I want someone in the comments to tell me, if they've seen the movie, to tell me what they think the time stop means, because I don't get it. I really don't get it. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of running out of things to talk about. I mean, bottom line is, this movie looks good for the most part. It's got good performances, but the story doesn't make any sense. There's so many pointless scenes. There's so many pointless elements introduced into the story. And at the end of the day, I mean, everything that I watched comes off feeling very unimportant. Because why did he want to build this new city? Where did this substance come from that he wants to build this city out of? At one point, Adam Driver gets shot in the head, and he's brought back to life with the substance that he's making the city out of. So what is so special about it? This movie is infuriating. I wanted to like it. I wanted to like it so bad because I'm a huge apologist for Francis Ford Coppola. He's made some great movies, don't get me wrong, but he's made a lot of stinkers too, and that's actually one of the reasons why after he made the film One from the Heart, he declared bankruptcy, and every film he made after that leading up to 1999 was made to pay off his debts. I wanted to see this guy succeed, and I wanted this last movie that he made to be his best, and I was so looking forward to it. But I left the theater thinking to myself, what the hell? I paid money just to sit there and be confused for 2.5 hours. I don't know. bottom line is I really wanted to like this movie, but in the end, I feel like I didn't. And I'm sure that maybe it'll change on second viewing, because I usually give movies at least 2 views just to know for sure how I feel about it and why I feel that way. But we'll see. I don't know that this will be a movie that'll really stick with me. This is an enigma. Well, that's all I got. This was completely unscripted. I, just kind of let myself go off on tangents here. Megalopolis is just a very interesting case that we have here. So that's all I got. Be sure to like and subscribe. New discussions come out every weekend. My original plan was to have these things come out every Saturday, but so far that hasn't really been the case. So I'm thinking that it's going to be every Sunday, if not just every weekend in general. So that's all I got for you. Bye!